February the 3rd, 2026. Guys, you're looking at an X1.4 solar flare that started early this morning when I first got up. It really hadn't reached the peak of it and hadn't started back down yet. But it was an X1.5, and the problem is we're dealing with sunspot AR4366. Normally, after throwing off several X flares and maybe 10 strong M flares, they will start to die down somewhat. The energy's been released, all of that. You can see a perfect X signature. But AR4366, guys, is a beta gamma delta triple configuration of magnetics, making it much more dangerous. And it is the only sunspot growing on the sun now. We have about 8. All of them are stable. They're saying solar activity continued at strong levels today with an X1.5 solar flare at 1408 UTC. This was followed up by an M72 at about 1456 UTC. Neither event appears to be associated with an Earth-directed CME. And I've been watching the CME trackers, guys, and I don't see one either. You can have very strong X flares that are a photon burst, but not emitting a tremendous amount of the surface or the solar surface in that coronal mass ejection. We've seen it before. Now, this is the latest update. This is what I was talking about, sunspot summary. You've got 9 sunspots or sunspot groups, but AR4366 is the only one growing. The only one that's multiple magnetic configurations. You have some that's beta, some alpha, but this is beta, gamma, delta. Again, you're just crossing up the magnetic fields and making these type of explosions. Guys, in this line, starting, you see it right there, that started today out. And this is universal time, so early this morning, right here was the X flare. Again, it hadn't quite peaked when I first saw it. Now we've had another M flare, very strong right there, another one there, that's in the yellow. And guys, when that happens, again, you got ionization, and it's called the global D-layer absorption. And you can see that here in the Pacific Ocean, that was the hardest hit. Now the X flare percentage keeps going up. 40% now, C flare 99, M flare 80, proton event 30. So again, this thing is growing. It is not decreasing because of the extreme release of energy. And this is the sunspot. Now, this was after the X flare. These are the latest images coming into the data center. They're still having some video problems. You can get the still shots pretty easy, but for some reason, it will tell you on the banner of the SDO there's some problems. But this happened 22:25 UTC time, and this system is very active. And when it gets about right here, it will be Earth facing. The one thing that is good about it, say this is pretty close to where you're, let's see, let me get this here. Right about here is the equator of the sun. And the Earth is right about here. So anything in the northern hemisphere, a lot of times, unless it's a curling filament release that we've seen happen, the most of the energy will go above the Earth as it approaches. Again, we are below the ecliptic, or what they call the equator of the sun. And look at this. Like I said, we got a lot of sunspot groups, sunspots here, here, and here. But this monster right here, triple configuration, 4366. And I remember I told you that 66 was the number of the X flare that struck Fukushima. Now this is a close-up of 4366. And triple configuration, it is still growing, remember? And as it moves over in the next couple of days, it will be more directly Earth-facing, even though it's slightly above the sun's equator and the Earth slightly below it. When you have a full CME halo, that means everything on this side of the sun is headed in 360-degree direction, and Earth will be affected if that occurs. And looking at the magnetogram, guys, look at this. You can see the different magnetics involved in this black and white magnetogram image, and look at the size difference. Guys, you could put in this hole right here, in this white hole, probably 20 Earths, 20 of our planets. That's the size that we're dealing with here. And it's amazing when you see these large explosions that are 1,000 times bigger than our planet, excuse me. Now, for all you hardcores that stayed in there and hung in with us, that care about what the government's doing, even though we don't agree with most of it, this is was the summary of what we saw today. It says, just in, the House passes the Trump-backed bill to end partial government shutdown with 2-week DHS funding. In other words, all the government is funded, all of it. But in 2 weeks, they can stop the funding for ICE and DHS. Now, it was a perfect move because the Republicans are in control, and they can kind of act like a Democrat, lie, cheat, and steal on this deal, because we're going to get the funding for them one way or the other, and they can get over it. But it was 217 to 214, and that's a good thing. And guys, if you remember, there were a few Democrats that were arguing to go with this 85% funding and then go with the 2-week extension or 2-day extension, so that the rest of the government wouldn't suffer. Really, what the Democrats were doing, guys, is playing to their voters, their constituents. But what happened, it was kind of cool that 21 Republicans voted against it, but 21 Democrats voted for it. So it kind of knocked it, nulled out the rhinos, which are Andy Biggs of Arizona. Now, before I continue this, let me explain. I think some of these people did not want to vote on it unless it was a complete funding bill, including ICE. But anyway, the ones that voted no against it: Andy Biggs of Arizona, Lauren Boebert of Colorado, Josh Reacham of Oklahoma, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, Eric Burleson of Missouri, Kat Kamak of Florida, Eli Crane of Arizona, Byron Donalds of Florida, Randy Fine of Florida, Brandon Gill of Texas, Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, Thomas Massey of Kentucky, of course, Corey Mills of Florida, Andy Eagles of Tennessee, Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, Chip Roy of Texas. Again, some of these, they were not necessarily going against the bill, they just didn't want to go with a partial bill, okay? Now, you got also in that deal, David Schweikert of Arizona, Keith Self of Texas, Victoria Sparks of Indiana, Greg Stubbe of Florida, and William Timmons of South Carolina. Now, they're not naming the 21 Democrats, but these are the group that knew right here they had enough of a brain left, very small piece, very low IQ, to realize, and they didn't do it out of goodness, they did it because they knew they were going to lose the midterms if they messed up another government shutdown and caused it again. The rest of the Democrats can't think that far ahead. They want ICE taken down. And so I did see where Kristi Noem came in and said, we have ordered and have started handing out body cams, vest cams for all the ICE agents, which is a great idea. It should have been done from the beginning, but we were dealing with logistics and cash and ordering things like that as we were rapidly rushing to increase the number of agents out there. But anyway, that's in effect, and that's not going to hurt anything, because what I think about it is that it's going to expose the craziness of the mobs that ICE and DHS is trying to control. Here is the body cam. And just like we see in a police arrest or whatever it is, the body cam always tells the truth, usually. And so it will make everyone be more aware of what's going on. Now, I'm not sure how exactly they're handling all this. It says the bill only funds the Department of Homeland Security until February 13th, right? We know that, but we also have seen, and I've read it myself, that they have been already funded until 2029. And that's why I'm saying I'm not sure how they're handling this. Will they retract or claw back some of that money? I don't know. Democrats are demanding reforms to ICE, including unmasking agents. Won't happen. Forcing them to wear body cameras, which is already happening, which is for their own safety. And the Democrats always shoot themselves in the dang head because they're that stupid. This again will show the craziness of their minions. And forcing them to obtain warrants for a judge as opposed to administrative warrants against criminal illegal aliens. That's what they're demanding. They didn't get that. They didn't get the mask or unmasking. They are getting the body cameras, but that was needed. On Monday, Noem announced that the Trump administration has already partially caved to Democrat demands, forcing ICE agents to again wear body cameras. And body cameras will be worn by DHS law enforcement across the country once funding is available. So, think about this, the chess game. Republicans said today, okay, we're going to get ICE the body cameras, and there's some of them already there. We're going to hand them out. But we can't do them all because you're going to block the funding on February 13th. It's funny. I can't help but laugh, guys. Anyway, it says, this will show what kind of circumstances ICE agents face when anti-ICE radicals attack them, but it will surely bring more scrutiny to our brave American heroes as they attempt to remove violent criminals from the country. It's not going to matter. They're going to continue to do what they're doing. They will be a little more... because of the conflicts we're seeing, they'll be probably a little more careful. You know, they may do some leg shots or take your knee out, shoot your foot off, something like that. Maybe not 5 or 6 headshots. We'll just have to see. But I'm telling you right now, any one of you or me, we run up into a police operation with a handgun, you're asking to be killed. And in the one of them we're talking about today, we may have been watching it on the live stream, was that all handgun safety manuals tell you and emphasize never carry into a police situation. Never, ever do that. You're risking your life. But stupid people do stupid things. You mess around and you find out, and they found out, and the Dems are acting mad about that. They don't care about those people. They were sacrificial lambs to the group we watched today. They want to stop the removal of their illegal voters and the money that's being laundered to Somalia and back to the Democrats. That's all they care about. So at least if 21 of them had enough sense to, okay, we're going to take the chance and get 85% of the government funded. But what they don't realize is that was the end of the game. And if you think about it, guys, they have a psyop going on the Democrats to do. We're winning, we do this, we won, we caught this, we busted them, we do it. They've done nothing, guys. All of that is a psyop hype that's facilitated by mainstream media. So in reality, they have no control of anything, but they've got to be boisterous. And just like the guy told the fool from Maine today, when you start cussing and using those words, it really shows a low mentality of you can't deal with the conversation. The same way Antifa stands out and F-bombs ICE. We were seeing that today, and it's a sign of desperation. That tells you the enemy's on the run. They're in a full panic. And half of them, the Democrats especially, did not want to stop defunding China. In the vote before that, what's up with that, guys? Think about it. How many have Chinese money and handed to them? It goes back to Mitch McConnell. It goes back to many Democrats also, that Chinese money. And again, I've saw going back to BLM riots in D.C. years ago, up to the new Minnesota riots now, Chinese people leading the protest, reading from a script, definitely Chinese, and that's been going on for years. They and Mexico and other nations have planned a domestic immigration takeover of our country. That's what they want, that one world order. We're not going to give it to them easy. And the Democrats have a hell of a fight on their hand. I just pray for our president that he stays safe. And again, we have people in place behind him. I don't think J.D. Vance would go for any of this libtard crap either. But again, it's just keep your mind on that, and President Trump needs to keep his mind on it too. Be safe in your travels and where you visit and who you visit. So I'm really glad you're not going to the Super Stupid Bowl. That's a very smart move, because there's nothing good coming out of California except some very good people. All the other events there are corrupt, and they will continue to be corrupt. And I hope that ICE stands in the lines of the Super Bowl in Newsom's face and checks every ID, kind of like getting on an airplane, and has a lot of buses around there. It's going to do a couple things. We're going to get some people out of here that don't belong here, and it's going to take money out of Newsom's grifting hands. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. A lot going on. Watch for updates. Be safe.